It's me, Mario!
Hello everyone and welcome to the extra part for Super Mario 64 where I show you how to get every single star in the game. This has been a long time coming. I meant to do this at the end of my Let's Play I did last year. We're finally getting around to it. I have timestamps for every star you need to find in this video, although I won't be showing exactly how to get 100 coin stars. Those are pretty self-explanatory, although I do have little on-screen graphics for which star I recommend doing the 100 coin stars in. Also, if there's too many time codes to find the star you're looking for, I also have a pinned comment showing exactly where each world is divided by, with the secret stars and Peach's Castle coming at the end. With all that said, let's not waste any more time, let's get right into it. First world we have here is Bob-omb Battlefield, and we need to face King Bob-omb on the summit. In order to reach the star, we just need to traverse through the obstacle course. It's pretty self-explanatory, linear star. There are a couple of shortcuts you can take, like teleporting from inside where the cannonballs are going to the top of the mountain. And then once you do reach the top, you're going to be facing off against King Bob-omb himself, who you just need to go around, pick up, and throw 3 times. He doesn't actually damage you as much as he does just kind of try to toss you off the mountain, so just keeping your distance and heading in carefully is really the key to this fight here. Once you toss him 3 times, the star appears there on the top of the mountain. The second star of Bob-omb Battlefield here is one we need to take note of as one of the first instances in the game where it can only be completed if you select the specific mission from the mission select in the course. So for this example, a foot race with Koopa the Quick, we need to select mission 2 exactly, otherwise Koopa the Quick won't be there at the start of the world. But if we select this mission, he's there, we need to talk to him, and this will begin the race with Koopa the Quick all the way to the top of the mountain, the exact same route we just used to get to King Bob-omb, so it's pretty much exactly the same. You just did this and you had to do this in order to get to this star. Also, there's only one more obstacle here, which is an extra rolling ball in this little pit. I like to theorize it's King Bob-omb's body. Yeah, but eventually Koopa the Quick will also reach the top, he'll congratulate you for beating him, and he'll hand you the second star of the game. Next star is Shoot to the Island in the Sky. Speaking of trends kind of set in this world, we have to activate the cannon here by talking to the Pink Bob-omb, who is right at the start of the stage, and there's a few different cannons you can use to reach this high up island here. There's one on this little stone ridge, there's one up on the mountainside. Either way, get to the island, and it's going to be inside this block here. You'll also notice I typically do a thing where I ground pound as soon as I hit these to get the star quicker. It's a fun little strategy to know about, just thought I'd show that. Next star we have here is Find the Red Coins. This one is also kind of a recurring thing in Mario 64 where each world is going to have 8 red coins in it. For this one we have this carousel at the start of the stage where you got a red coin on. Then there's one just dead ahead of that on this kind of slopey ridge, which in order to get, you can just try to jump up to it. It's not easy though. I recommend going over here and getting this Koopa shell and riding it up to get that. The next one is around the chain chomp on top of his little post that's keeping him chained there. And then go past this bridge, and there's going to be this open field where the star is eventually going to spawn. There's 2 red coins there. Then on the way to the mountain, there's another bridge leading to this kind of gated off area. You're going to want to go down and underneath said bridge to find a red coin. Next red coin you've got is up on this slope, which we can either use the Koopa shell or crawl up to, or if you go up high into that part of the mountain, you can slide down onto, which I recommend doing. And then the last red coin is actually on the island in the sky that we shot to for the previous star, so use a cannon yet again to get over there. It's just in this tree. And the star itself spawns just out in this field where we had 2 of those red coins before. You can use the cannon here on the island to actually shoot out to it. It's a pretty quick method of getting there, so I like it. Next star in the game is Mario Wings to the Sky. And this one technically requires you have the wing cap, technically doesn't. It's kind of difficult. I do recommend having the wing cap though, so here's a little time code for where you can go to see how you get the wing cap. You need 10 stars in order to reach it as well. On the island in the sky where we've collected a red coin or a star previously, there's this cannon that then shoots out to these ring coins here, basically. We need to collect 5 of these inner ring coins, which you can do just shooting out of the cannon and backtracking and going back and forth, but it's a lot easier if you have the wing cap, because then you can just fly around to collect the coins. This is also where I recommend doing the 100 coin star, as you saw with the little graphic there. But collecting 5 of these inner circle coins here will allow the star to spawn in that same field where the red coin star spawned earlier, so you can go and collect it. Last star in Bob-omb Battlefield here is behind Chain Chomp's gate. It's actually kind of the quickest and easiest of the stars here. Basically, we need to go up to this Chain Chomp here and ground pound the post holding him in place. You'll then go and release the star from the cage, where you can go and collect it. It's honestly the only star I usually do on Bob-omb Battlefield if I'm not going for 100%. Next course we have here is Whomp's Fortress, which we need 1 star in order to reach, so you just gotta go to the opposite side of the main floor and open this door here. And Whomp's Fortress first couple stars function very similarly to Bob-omb Battlefield. The first star we have is Chip Off Whomp's Block, which involves just going up this whole obstacle course and reaching the Whomp. And there's a few different ways to do this. I like a couple of shortcuts I'll show you here, some fancy tricks. But once you do get to the top, you gotta fight this giant Whomp here, which normally you're supposed to wait for him to face plant down, run around him, and ground pound his back. You also can just clip through him if you time your ground pound right, so you can do that 3 times and then he'll release the star. Second star to the top of the fortress. This one is pretty much exactly the same as the last star. We once again have to reach this higher up area, and instead of Whomp being here, there's this little tower we gotta climb up. Be very careful when you collect the star not to jump off the tower on your way down. Third star is shoot into the wild blue. This one, we do need to activate the cannon for, technically, at least it's recommended. Basically this upper little ridge where there's this little shallow watery area. We need to talk to the pink Bob-omb. He'll have the cannon there and you can shoot straight ahead into the star. Or my preferred method is actually just doing a somersault wall kick to reach it. How do you do a somersault wall kick? Well, basically, with Mario, as you run forward, if you flick back on the analog stick, he'll have a moment where he kind of tugs backwards, and if you jump there, you do a somersault, which is a really high kind of jump. And from there, you can do a wall kick, which is as you impact on the wall, hitting the jump button from there to kind of leap off of that. And you can do that to reach the star really damn quickly. Next star we have is fall into the caged island. There's a couple different methods for doing this. The recommended one is, of course, going into this tree, activating the owl, and having him fly you over to the caged island and dropping down in. But my favorite method is actually going and using the cannon we just unlocked with pink Bob-omb before, because we can actually shoot ourselves into that little cage, which is really fun. I used the little shadowed edge of the UI, and this coin here is reference for how to reach the cage properly. Next star up we have here is red coins in the floating isle. Now this is our red coin star for Whomp's Fortress. And so our first one is going to be on this opening area on this path with these pistons. You just got to jump over this one. And then we want to go around the corner on these steps here, past these two thwomps, and it's actually on top of the second thwomp, so you want to backflip onto him and have him raise you up into it. The next one is just past this piranha plant that's sleeping here. And then the fourth one is going to be along this ridge here. You got to sidle across in order to reach. Just ahead of that and past the next piranha plant, you're going to find this rotating platform here. So you want to go into the center, let it rotate around, and then go to the edge of the platform to let it rotate you into the next red coin. Actually, the next red coin is just underneath this platform on a little slope, so you can jump down to that. And then the last two are going to be in a new area of Whomp's Fortress, where we need to go to the top of the fortress, knock down this plank here to reach over to this area, and there's these floating islands that are spinning around. We can collect the last two here. The star is going to spawn way back at the beginning of the course, so you can jump down to get it, or take it easy, however you want to do it. But that is the red coin star for you there. Last star of Whomp's Fortress is Blast Away the Wall. And this one's kind of obscure if you don't know what you're doing. Basically, you need to activate the cannon with the pink Bob-omb as we've done before, and then we need to shoot away the corner of this wall, which sometimes with the draw distance and the funky camera, you can see that it's not a real wall and there's a star in there. But otherwise, it's kind of obscure. You gotta blast away the wall, and the star appears there. You can then also go up and then slide down into the star to collect it safely, or you can shoot into it with a cannon, either way. Also, I believe it's possible to somehow sneak your way and no-clip through to get this star without shooting out the cannon. I've never done it before, so you'll have to find some other guide on how to do that exactly. Next world we have is the water world of the game, Jolly Roger Bay. This one requires 3 stars in order to enter, so make sure you have those before heading on in. And the first star we have here is Plunder in the Sunken Ship, where we just swim ahead to this big open area. There's going to be this pirate ship at the bottom of the map, and there's an eel inside this window blocking the entrance. We need to bait him out by swimming just right in front of him and then swimming away. The eel will come out. I recommend getting some air at this point, and then you can swim into the window where he was. It's a little finicky trying to get the eel to move, so it may take some trial and error. Once you head inside the pirate ship, there's going to be these 4 chests in this pool area, and we need to activate them in the correct order. This is also kind of a trend-setting thing for Mario 64 in activating these chests in the right order. What we need to do is activate the furthest back one, then turn around, activate the one on Mario's left, activate the one on his right, and then activate the one in the center, so kind of doing a little circle around here. As soon as you activate all the chests, the water in the area will begin to lower, and you'll notice that there's some platforms up ahead. I recommend swimming up ahead fast so you don't have to do as much platforming and you can just head up to the star. Either way, the star is waiting at a block for you there. Second star we have is Can the Eel Come Out to Play? And kind of just like the last one, we're swimming to this big open area and baiting out the eel once again. It's a little trickier here though, since he may just try to scream at you as you're trying to bait him out. I actually don't know quite how this star works 100%. Once you do get him to come out, the star is going to be attached to his tail, which means you got to go up and touch it. It's going to appear near his den, and that's where you can collect the star. Star number 3 is Treasure of the Open Cave, where once again we're swimming through this big open area. We're actually going to head down and underneath into this cave system where we can find some chests waiting for us. These chests are activated in, well, actually kind of the same order we had for the ones in the pirate ship. It's going to be the back, the left, the right, and then the front. Next star we have here is Red Coins on the Ship Afloat. This is where I recommend getting the 100 coin star, and it's not easy. Make sure you get the blue coins here. The red coins are fairly simple to find. 4 of them are just underwater in these clams that we gotta go nearby and wait for them to open up. Another one is just up on this ledge past the pink Bob-omb that we can activate the cannon with on this giant pillar here we gotta climb up. And then the last 3, if you turn directly opposite of that area, is gonna be on this pirate ship. We gotta activate a button to create a path there. The pirate ship is now floating up high, and so we can collect the red coins here. And then this is also where the star appears, so I recommend saving these 3 for last. Getting up to this higher area on the pirate ship is a little tricky because it's swaying back and forth. You gotta use the swaying to your advantage and kind of go with it. Next Next star we have is Blast to the Stone Pillar. This of course involves using the cannon, so we gotta activate that with the pink Bob-omb just over here. What we have to do to reach it is shoot to these pillars here. I recommend always with the cannon aiming higher than where you want to go, since Mario does kind of peak and then go down. So once you make it to the middle pole, there's a little platform ledge you can go on where the star is, so just jump over there and collect the star. Last star on Jolly Roger Bay is through the jet stream, and this one requires the metal cap, kind of. It's possible to get it without the metal cap, but it's not easy and I don't recommend it. In order to get the metal cap, you have to go way later in the game. I have a timestamp for that here. But for this star, once we get the metal cap up on this ledge, we're going to need to head down into the water where we sink on by and then walk up to the star through the jet stream. Again, it's possible to swim through if you're good enough at the swimming controls, but it's not easy. Next world we have here is Cool Mountain. This one requires 3 stars to reach, just like Jolly Roger Bay. And as we enter here, we're going to need to do the first star, which is Slip, Slide, and Away. As we enter the world, there's this chimney right away that we can go down, and this leads to a big slide area where we can slide on by and collect some coins. This is actually great for the 100 coin star. You could also take the shortcut through the wall to make it to the end pretty easily, and I recommend doing it now because there's another star coming up where you can't do this. So unless you really need to practice on the course, just slide on by through the shortcut, and as you leave outside this door, the star will spawn just outside the cabin there for you to collect. Star number 2 is Little Penguin Lost, and people have a little difficulty with this one, but mainly it's going to be taking your time. You have this baby penguin at the top of the mountain you got to bring all the way to the bottom, and a lot of people will try to like jump on by, make shortcuts, stuff like that. Honestly, I recommend just taking the slow path. I mean, you can slide down with the penguin still in your hands, and then once you go past this little obstacle with the snowman on the bridge, which is like the only obstacle you'll have to deal with, you can then just jump down to the bottom level from there. Bring the baby penguin up to the mama penguin, and there you go, there's your star. There is another penguin here, but it's a fake. Don't believe it. Next star we have is Big Penguin Race. This involves going back in the chimney and back to the slide area, only this time there's a giant penguin there who wants to race Mario. He kind of rubber bands, and he doesn't allow you to use the shortcut, otherwise he calls you on cheating and he won't give you the star, so you have to actually beat him in this race. Remember, you can accelerate and deaccelerate by holding up and down on the joystick. You're going to have to use that to your advantage, either to go really fast on some straightaways, or slow down on some of these tricky turns and make sure you don't fly off. But if you can manage to beat him down to the bottom, he'll reward you with the star. Next up we have the red coin star, Frosty Slide for 8 red coins. The first red coin's pretty damn easy. It's just in this tree right by the chimney you've been going in this whole time. The next one is actually behind the entranceway. You're going to want to slide down into this lower area where there's a red coin waiting for you there. Also at the very start, taking the normal sliding path around, there's going to be a red coin in the corner there. There's also going to be one on the ledge where the gondola connects the upper and lower paths. Speaking of which, you may find it difficult to collect some of the red coins on the higher path and the lower path going back and forth. I recommend using this broken bridge as a bit of a shortcut to get back and forth. It actually teleports you from the very bottom of the map to the very top of the map, so it's very useful. Next red coin is going to be past the bridge with a snowman here, on this bridge with a gap in it, so you can long jump past and collect the red coin there. This is also where the red coin star is going to spawn. The last 3 red coins are all going to be in the bottom area, so just jump on down, and then here you're going to find one just in a tree by the cabin, one in this little platform by the broken bridge where you can teleport back up, and then one around the corner you got to slowly creep to, so be careful with that one. But like I said, the star spawns past the bridge with the gap in it, so you can long jump to that and collect that star. The next star is Snowman's Lost His Head. In this case, we need to reach this upper platform towards the start, talk to the snowman head, or maybe it's the body, I don't remember. It's some part of the snowman that's missing from the other part, so we need to talk to it and actually beat it in a race down this first part of the mountain. So make sure you get ahead, because once you get ahead and past its little other body part here, you need to then guide it into that said body part, because it's going to start following where Mario is and tracking where you go. Once you connect the 2 body parts, the snowman's back together again, and you can collect the star from him. Last star of Cool Mountain is Wall Kicks Will Work. Now this one is our opportunity to learn more about wall kicks. I know they're called wall kicks when they're more like wall jumps, but just bear with me, it's the name. First, of course, we need to activate the pink Bob-omb. So on the gondola connecting the upper and lower paths here, there's this island in between where we can talk to the pink Bob-omb and get the cannons activated. And then just down on the lower path from there, we can shoot ahead across this gap to the tree and head to where we need to go. So going along this path, this is where we need to do some wall kicks. Actually, the first one we can just somersault by, but the wall kicks here, this is where you kind of need to learn how they work. Basically, it's all about the angles and the timing of your jump. As soon as Mario hits the wall, there's a bit of an impact, and that's when you need to hit the A button. Also, where you approach the wall from makes a huge difference. If Mario approaches the wall from here, he's going to leap out from there. So, in this case where we want to go in a flat kind of back and forth motion, we want to make sure we're going straight across in a flat kind of method. Also for this one here, we need to do a triple jump into a wall kick into this higher part of the area. So this is where you need to learn more about doing triple jumps as well, because those require a bit of momentum. Unlike double jumps, you can't activate them from a standstill. You need a bit of a running start. Once you make it to the higher area, the star is just dead ahead on this kind of thin platform. You can activate the Mario Cam by hitting the R button to then just go straight in a line. So that's how you can get the last star of Cool Mountain. The next world we have is Big Boo's Haunt. Now, Big Boo's Haunt technically doesn't appear until you collect 12 stars initially. It's just in these blank doors leading down the hall, and you can see a ghost once you have 12 stars, so that's how you know you can access the world. Heading into this back fountain area, there's a whole bunch of boos around here, and this is a good opportunity to learn how to fight them. Now, like the old Mario games, they disappear when you look right at them, and so the kind of intended method is for you to sneak around them and punch them in the back. Personally, though, I think the best method for dealing with boos is to ground pound them, because then you go above them, they appear, you ground pound, and you destroy their back. And you actually need to destroy a boo in order to get into the world in the first place, as the one in the upper left corner of this room has the world in him. He's got a little cage, you'll notice. But alright, heading into Big Boo's Haunt, we have star number 1. This is Go on a Ghost Hunt. And as the name of the level suggests, yeah, we just gotta go kill all the boos in the level. So starting out, we have this room on the right where there's this kind of crumbled bit of destroyed floor. There's a boo there. And also in the next room just past that, there's this falling bridge. There's another boo in that room as well. In this room with the lone eyeball enemy, there's also another boo we gotta destroy. And then also as we head into this reading room here with these attacking books, there's 2 boos. You don't see them at first, they actually come through the wall painting, so you need to look away from that so they come towards you. Technically you can just circle around the whole mansion and go into that back room and fight them there, but that takes a little while, so I'd rather just kind of go them into the attacking here. As you defeat each boo, they're going to give a little creepy message about ghosts don't die, blah blah blah. But when you kill the last one, they're going to give a message about how Big Boo is approached in the main area, so we got to go back out there and fight Big Boo. He works just like the regular boos, he just takes 3 hits. And as you defeat him, the stairs will emerge in this main area leading to the star, so you can use that and collect the star there. This also means that any further missions we select from here, those stairs are automatically going to be there, but if you ever select the first mission, they won't be, so keep that in mind. Second star we have here is Ride Big Boo's Merry-Go-Round. This involves going to the basement of Big Boo's Haunt. Now, there are a few ways you can reach there. You can go down through the tumbling bridge or the room with the crumbled floor, or you could just turn around right at the start and take the elevator, which is my preferred method. Heading into the basement, there's this room with the carousel, some fire spinning, and, well, a lot of chaos actually, and there's going to be boos emerging from this painting, and just like Go on a Ghost Hunt, we gotta kill them all to make Big Boo appear, we then gotta kill to get the star. Next up we have Secret of the Haunted Books. This one's on the second floor in the second door from the left. As we go by these bookshelves, they're going to be shooting out some books at us, watch out for those. And we approach this bookshelf here, 3 books are going to protrude from the wall there, and we got to hit them in a particular order, doing the top middle one, the right one, and then the left one. This will allow the bookshelf to move out of the way, where we can find the star just dead ahead. It's actually not the only way we can get this star. You see, the furthest door on the left in the second floor actually has a little balcony where you can see the star from there, and you can just jump over. It's kind of pathetic, actually. In fact, in the piano room just underneath on the first floor, you can do a somersault wall kick to reach this balcony, and technically you can get to the second floor before you've even done Go on a Ghost Hunt. This is the kind of freedom that I love in Mario 64. It's so wild and fun. It's just a big sandbox you can mess around with. Next up, we have Seek the 8 Red Coins. First off, we have a red coin in the piano room on the first floor. You gotta get the piano out of the way, so you might take some damage here. And then in the reading room just next door, there's gonna be 2 red coins on top of these bookshelves. There's 1 more red coin on the first floor, which is gonna be on the right in the room with the big hole in it. And then in the second floor, in this area where there's a big hole and you're walking along this kind of gatey surface, you're gonna find 1 there. And then heading back out, there's 2 in this coffin room. You gotta get these coffins to stand up and sneak around them to grab these red coins. Also, there's 1 last one, which is just in this library over here around the corner. Once you collect all of them, the star appears on the second floor, just on the left. Next star we have is Big Boo's Balcony, and this involves a bit of wall kicking that you're going to have to get used to here. For Big Boo's Balcony, we're going to want to go to the second floor, head to the library on the right, and then from this ledge here we need to do a somersault wall kick to reach this upper ledge and go to the 3rd floor. Up here is where you can fight Big Boo again. I know, right? We fought him 3 times in this world. And as you defeat him, the star spawns on top of the building, so we got to long jump our way over to it. Make sure you don't ignore that. Anyway, like I said, long jumping up here, we gotta collect this star. Last star of Big Boo's Haunt is Eye to Eye in the secret room. And this one can be a little tricky. It also requires the Vanish Cap. So if you haven't gotten the Vanish Cap already, here's the timestamp for how you can find that. And basically we need to do the same thing we did in the last star to get to that 3rd floor, where we do a wall kick and do a backflip up here, only now we gotta do it on the clock. Because first we gotta exit through this library, collect a Vanish Cap, and then go back into the library and do that same method to get up there. Once you're on the 3rd floor, go around the corner and through this painting using the Vanish Cap, and there we have a giant eyeball boss we gotta fight. If you haven't already fought some of these eyeball guys, basically just get them to look at you and then spin around them a couple times and they'll die. And it's the same exact thing with this giant one here. He's just bigger, I guess. As you defeat him, he drops the last star of Big Boo's Haunt. Next world we have here is Hazy Maze Cave. Now Hazy Maze Cave is in the basement, which means in order to access it we first need to defeat the first Bowser level, and that means we need 8 stars to get here in the first place, so there's a couple requirements you gotta know about. Although there's no star requirement door to get into Hazy Maze Cave, it's just through this door and in this little metal pool of sorts. First star is gonna be Swimming Beast in the Cavern, which I recommend taking the left path, long jumping across, going past these rolling rocks and down the elevator, and down here in this little pool area where we can find Dory the dinosaur. If we go onto Dory's back, ground pound her, and then go onto her head, we're now able to control kind of where she's going. I recommend just looking in a straight line so you know exactly where you're going and it's very precise. And you basically just need to go to this little island in the center to collect the star there. Second star of Hazy Maze Cave is Elevate for 8 red coins. This time we're going to be taking the right path at the start, past this little fire, into this big square room. Here we need to go into the back right corner, up these steps, and onto this little arrow platform we can use to ride around and collect some of the coins. 3 of them are going to be inside these boxes we got to bust open, and then one of them is going to be in this little corner wedge all the way back. That's only 4 of them though. The rest of them we need to go back onto that arrow platform and straight across to this pole, climb on up, and take this little elevator ride across to collect the rest of the 4 red coins. After you collect all of them, the star will eventually spawn in the bottom center of the room where you can go and pick it up. I highly recommend doing the 100 coin star here because, man, doing this whole sequence twice is not fun. Next star we have is Metalhead Mario Can Move. If you haven't already collected the metal cap, here's the timestamp for where you can do that. Although technically you don't need the metal cap, it's recommended. Basically we need to go on the left path to start, long jumping down, going past the rocks and down the elevator yet again, and there's this pool area where there's a button in the water we gotta push. Now they intend for you to use Metal Mario so that you sink into the water and just walk onto the button. You can't swim into it after all. And this opens the gate where you can go by and collect the star, but also you can just kind of time a ground pound right and that hits the button as well. It's my preferred method, what can I say? I'll give you some exploits if I can, right? But there you go, Metalhead Mario Can Move, right there for you. The next 2 stars involve the Toxic Maze. First off, we have Navigating the Toxic Maze, and for both of these we want to go on the right path at the start, back into that big square room where the red coins were, and on the left, so we can enter the maze. In these cases, the metal cap is recommended, but not necessary. You see, in this maze we have this yellow fog that damages Mario over time, unless you have the metal cap, in which case you're immune. So it's kind of recommended, but not necessary. For navigating the Toxic Maze, we need to go through here and look for the mossy ledge we can climb up on. Go on by, head up the elevator, and we can find the star on the other side of this gate that we've often seen heading down to Dory. The next star is Amazing Emergency Exit. I like that name there. And for this one, we need to go once again into the Toxic Maze on the right path, lower area, go left, go into the maze, and this time we're looking for a different ledge we gotta climb up. It's not marked by any moss, so just keep an eye out. Also, there's another ledge up here with nothing in it, so it's a bit of a fake out. But this one eventually leads to an elevator up into this area where we gotta climb along this grate. You need to be very careful, because if you fall, you die. So hold A like it's your child. And then eventually you'll drop down here where you can collect the star. Last star in Hazy Maze Cave is Watch for Rolling Rocks. This one's pretty simple. Just take the left path at the start, long jump by, go past the rolling rocks, and actually instead of going through the door that eventually leads to the elevator down, you're going to want to wall kick your way up these 2 side bits along the door to reach the star. It's a pretty quick star, all things said and done. Next up we have Lethal Lava Land. Yet again, it's in the basement, so it requires you to do Bowser in the Dark World and thus have 8 stars to reach it, but it's a pretty obvious painting in the basement. It's just staring right at you, isn't it? And the first star we have here is Boil the Big Bully. Now, this is where we need to learn kind of how to fight bullies. These guys are going to be going along trying to push Mario into lava. They don't actually do normal damage otherwise. We need to push them into the lava, which we can do either by jumping on them, ground pounding, punching, whatever method works best for you. I personally prefer just doing a straight up jump, because that actually pushes them back really quickly. And it works the same with the boss of Lethal Lava Land here. Now, navigating this place is very open, so you can take a whole bunch of different paths. You can also just lava boost your way over if you want. But the big bully is going to be in the center platform way further back in the stage. He's a little stronger than the regular guys, but basically just the same. We need to push him into the lava. I like pushing him down into this platform here to watch him suffer. And then as soon as he boils away in the lava, these stairs appear here leading to the star. Be careful though, a lot of speedrunners mess up on this part. Next star we have here is Boil the Bullies, which works very similarly to Boil the Big Bully. We need to go back to that area, except it's just across to the right. And here we have a different platform where there's 3 bullies we gotta take out. As you take out all 3, another big bully will show up, we defeat him, and we can collect that star. Star number 3, 8 coin, 15-piece puzzle. Do you need a guide for this part? Who skipped to this? Who looked for the time code and skipped to this part of the video? I want to find... No, seriously, it's just to the left of the entrance. They're all in one big grid area right there for you. And the star spawns right next to them, too. That's it. That's the red coin star. I need to relax. I don't know. Next star we have is Red Hot Log Rolling. This one I recommend having the wing cap, but it's not necessary, because we can either use the wing cap just behind the start of the stage, or we can just use this platform to ride on over to reach this area where the log is going to be spinning by leading to the star. Now, if you have the wing cap, you can just fly across, or you can even just damage boost your way over, but you're intended to just spin along this log, carefully countering its rotation as you go to reach this star. The last two stars of Lethal Lava Land here both involve the volcano portion of the world. So first one we have here is Hot-Footed in the Volcano. To head into the volcano on this spinning platform here, we just basically need to jump on by, or you can use the Koopa Shell that spawns here, which, by the way, the Koopa Shell, skating on by like it's Tony Hawk through Lethal Lava Land, one of my favorite things in the game. It's also great for getting a 100 coin star, of course. Now, in terms of getting the 100 coin star, keep in mind that going into the volcano means you can't go back out, so make sure you have enough coins before going in if you are going for 100 coins. But once you enter the volcano, the first star is going to be on the straight path up ahead, just past some obstacles, past some bullies, climb up some poles, and the star is going to be dead ahead. The next star we have is Elevator Tour in the volcano, which, just like the last one, involves going into this volcano. Again, I recommend the Koopa Shell. And then as you go by, you're actually going to want to turn around to take this elevator up to another elevator, to some poles, and then the star is just there. It can be a little tricky with the camera controls, just take it nice and easy, and once you learn the route, it's pretty simple. Next world we have here is Shifting Sandland. Now, Shifting Sandland is interesting. The world entrance is kind of hidden. There's nothing telling you that it's here, but once you know where it is, there's no mistaking it. It's just around the corner from Lethal Lava Land. You gotta go through the wall here. It's probably some sign or toad telling you about it somewhere in the game, I don't know. The first star we have here is In the Talons of the Big Bird, and here's the thing with Shifting Sandland. There's a very important method you have to learn in navigating this place. I recommend having the wing cap for just about every star here, but that's my preference. But either way, there's this little building towards the start with the roof, and on that roof is a wing cap as well as a Koopa Shell you can use to ride around and help avoid quicksand. In order to get up there, you can either jump off of this little propeller guy, or you can do a triple jump, or even a somersault sometimes works. Either way, get used to this method of getting on top of this rooftop and using either the wing cap or the shell to get around. Because in this case, we're going to want to get on top of these pillars surrounding the pyramid and wait for this bird to approach. He's got the star. Jump into him, get the star out of him, and it actually appears down behind the pyramid in between these two pillars back there. Next star we have is Shining atop the pyramid. This is a pretty simple linear one. If you do want to take the walking route, I guess, you can go around this whole little grid-like maze where there's these cube guys trying to crush you, and then around to the other side of the pyramid, walk on up, and then also for this star in particular, we have to go around these ledges carefully, navigating up the pyramid and getting the star there. But man, it's so much easier to just use the wing cap. What can I say? I highly recommend it. Third star we have is Inside the Ancient Pyramid, and like the volcano in Lethal Lava Land, this is an area where if you enter, you can't go back out, so be careful with the 100 coin star if you're going for that. Inside the Ancient Pyramid is pretty self-explanatory. You go inside the Ancient Pyramid through the bottom entrance, and you just need to navigate your way all the way to the top, past some obstacles like some rolling guys and some crushing guys, all the guys. Avoid the guys. There's actually a much easier way to get the star we unlock later on, so stay tuned if you want to hear that. Speaking of which, star number 4, Stand Tall on 4 Pillars. This one requires basically the wing cap to go around and stand on the 4 pillars surrounding the pyramid, which will cause the top of the pyramid to then explode and reveal a new entranceway into it. Now this is that method I was talking about with the last star, how you can get it much easier. Because this elevator starts out at the top of the pyramid, you can just jump out of the elevator to get that last star right here. But the intended one here is to just follow the elevator all the way down and enter the boss arena. Because yeah, we've got a boss here. This guy with the 2 hands with the eyeballs on the palms. Basically just punch whatever eyeball is open and avoid the shoving or fisting of whatever fist is trying to get you. Next up we have Free Flying for 8 red coins. This requires the wing cap, and it's basically the red coin star of Shifting Sandland. All of them are outside the pyramid, by the way. The first one is right at the start where we gotta go near the quicksand here and carefully creep up to this one. The next one is in the small building up ahead where we've been going on the roof constantly to get the wing cap. It's actually in the furthest box down there that you gotta burst open. The next one is in that grid-like kind of maze where those blocks are crushing down on you. It's just ahead of the first block before the second one. Actually, past the second one is the next red coin and a small pond oasis in the distance. You wouldn't know this is here otherwise because there's no other purpose to it besides having this 1 red coin. The remaining 4 are all surrounding the pillars around the pyramid, so we do need the wing cap in order to get these. And as you fly by and collect all of them, the star will eventually appear back on the rooftop where you initially get the wing cap. Last star of Shifting Sandland is Pyramid Puzzle. This one involves finding some secrets, which is kind of a recurring thing in Mario 64 with some stars. We need to do the standing tall on the 4 pillars thing again with the wing cap, so stand tall on the 4 pillars and reveal the entranceway on the top of the pyramid. Head on down, and this time we actually do want to jump out of the elevator, which means you technically can also go the normal way inside the pyramid. It just takes longer. And then here there's going to be these little platforms with coins descending. We need to collect each of these coins. They count as a secret, which eventually will unlock the star. Take it very carefully. Use the up C button to look in Mario's perspective and see where you're going to get these coins. And as you're flowing by in this kind of stream of sand, make sure you're jumping so you don't sink down into it, and go ahead and collect the last star. Next world we have here is Dire Docks. This world entrance is interesting. It requires 30 stars in order to get to it, making it kind of the only basement level where you actually need a star count in order to get to it. It also has a bizarrely functioning entranceway where at first the entranceway is ahead of Bowser in the lava world, and then after you collect the first star it's going to go behind it. Also keep in mind this world has Bowser's sub in it. Bowser's submarine kind of blocks off some certain stars here and there. It only disappears after you beat Bowser in the Fire World, so I recommend doing that in the midst of this. But the first star is board Bowser's sub, where we just need to swim by to the second area, and then go up to this button on the ledge, activate it, turn around, take this path up to Bowser's sub, and collect the star right there. This is the one that makes the world entrance then move back, and now is when I would do the Bowser in the Fire World. At least beat it. You don't have to get the red coins there yet. We'll get to that later. Second star of Dire Docks is chests in the current. This one's right at the opening area. There's these 4 chests surrounding this turbine here. You got to be very careful not to get sucked in. And for the chests here, we want to first activate this one by the coin pillars and then go in a circle activating them counterclockwise. And avoid the one in the center yet. That one's saved for last. It's also going to be a little tricky to activate that chest while you're getting sucked into the turbine. But if you can manage to do it, the star appears and you can collect it right then and there. The third star we have is pole jumping for red coins. Now, this is what I was talking about, where you need to do Bowser's level first to get the Bowser submarine to disappear here. Otherwise, you can't do this star yet. But pole jumping for red coins, we need to go back out to that area where Bowser's sub was, activate that same button that you used to get the path to get to it, but now there's a different path there, and you can use that to get to a higher set of platforms, and this is where the poles are moving back and forth, and you got to use these poles to collect the red coins. Where Mario's position of the poles sometimes matters, you're also going to have to do some jumping from pole to pole, and so for this, keep in mind where Mario's back is. He's going to jump straight back behind him, so it's a little tricky, but you can get the hang of it. And then all the red coins are up here, so there's no confusion on where you need to get any extras. Also, once you get the last one, the star spawns up in this area, so this is pretty much contained into this one specific spot. Next star we have is through the jet stream. This yet again requires you have the metal cap, and in this we need to go to the second area where there's this jet turbine blasting bubbles up, and there's rings emerging from it. We need to swim through 5 of those said rings in order to get the star to activate, but the star appears at the bottom of the jet turbine, so kind of like that one star in Jolly Roger Bay, we need the metal cap in order to go down and reach it. Again, maybe it's possible to reach just swimming, I don't know, I've never tried. Next star we have here is the Manta Ray's reward. The Manta Ray at the very first opening area of the world is going to be shooting out rings behind him, and you need to swim through 5, kind of like you do with the jet turbine here, but it's a little tricky. If you kind of outpace him and you go through the rings just as they're spawning, they don't count. So you want to keep a little bit of distance between you and the Manta Ray. I recommend holding the A button to do a kind of doggy paddle. And then once you swim through all 5, the star will appear in a rather hazardous area, so be careful picking it up. Last star in Dire Docks is collect the caps. And this one, as the name suggests, requires both the metal cap and the vanish cap. You're going to go through the first area to the second area, up to the ledge, collect the vanish cap, collect the metal cap at the same time, and now you have both properties, so you can go through walls and you sink at the bottom of water, so you can easily walk on by through this gated area and reach the caged star. It may be possible actually to just get the vanish cap and then swim over fast enough. I'm not sure. You're also dealing with a hole in this part of the world that actually, if you get sucked into, leads you back out to the moat of Peach's castle, so it's a lot of backtracking you have to do if you mess up there. Next star we have is Snowman's Land, and this is on the second floor of the castle, so it requires you've done Bowser in the lava world. It requires you have 30 stars at least, of course. And the world entrance here is interesting. It's on the second floor, and it's in this room where you can't see the painting except through the mirror. So using the mirror, you can find that this painting is here. So once you know it's there, it's pretty simple to get. And the first star we have is Snowman's Big Head. This is a pretty self-explanatory linear one where we gotta go up the path, around the obstacle course, and eventually we'll reach this kind of ice bridge where the snowman is there, and he doesn't want you climbing on by, so he'll try to blow you off, which actually even knocks off your cap as well, and you'll have to redo the whole obstacle course. What you have to do is carefully follow this penguin behind so you don't get blown off. He's gonna go a little back and forth, so you gotta keep a close eye on his route, and eventually you'll get past and be able to get the star on top. Here's the thing though, there is a better method for getting the star much later on that I recommend, so stay tuned for the Snowman's Land guide to see where you can get that. Star number 2 here is Chill with the Big Bully. This is basically a Lethal Lava Land star, just in Snowman's Land. It's even got water that functions like lava, which is the only instance in the game I can think of that has this. It's kind of bizarre. But in the opening area, he's just not too far away. We just gotta, once again, fight this bully. Knock him down, put him into the water, lava, whatever it is, and then he'll reveal the star. Star number 3 is in the deep freeze. This is another one where, do you really need a guide for this? It's right at the start. Right at the start, there's this giant ice cube maze that you gotta go through, and it's kind of confusing in your first time. You have to do a double jump to climb up this ledge and over, down into where the star is in that little pocket. But it's definitely the easiest star in Snowman's Land, so if you're looking for a quick, easy star you can get, and you're not sure where to start, this is a good place. Next up we have Whirl from the Freezing Pond. Now this involves a tricky maneuver that you're going to have to get used to for Snowman's Land for a few stars. Basically, as you approach this kind of cold bit of the lake, there's these enemies called spindrifts, which if Mario jumps on, he propels off of and flies away. We need to jump on the ones in the water, and then fly over this ridge. That's where we can find the star on this block here. Get used to this kind of method because you're going to have to do it a couple times. And there are a couple spindrifts here in case you mess up on the first one, so just know it's not the end of the world if you don't get it right your first time. The next coin is shell shredding for red coins, and it involves the same kind of method we just did for the last star, where we're going to have to jump off of the spindrift, past the ridge, and here, in addition to that one block where we got the star last time, there's another block with a Koopa shell in it. And we need this Koopa shell in order to get the red coins here. First, we got to go across this slope and collect the first 4, just a straight line. Then as we head down from the ledge, there's one waiting for us there. There's 2 of them underneath the ice bully, and you do need the shell in order to reach these. And then there's one more just past that. Once you collect them all, the star appears just on the base floor in the main kind of area. And there you go. Now for the last star, into the igloo. This once again requires that same kind of method we did for shell shredding, where we need to jump off the spindrift, past the ridge, and get that Koopa shell. This time we're going across the cold water that we had used to get here, and up this slope to the igloo. We actually have to crouch to get in here, so it's like the only instance of the game where you have to crouch ever. Also, I forgot to mention, but this requires the vanish cap. That's important to know. Once inside the igloo, we gotta go get the vanish cap past this ledge, and now we can go through these ice walls. This is where we can find the pink Bob-omb to activate the cannon, and this makes the first star so much easier, because once you activate the cannon, you could just cannon your way up to the top of the snowman's head. No need to worry about him blowing you off. Also, this is a good area for collecting 100 coins, but just like with, say, the volcano or the pyramid, you can't leave after you enter, so make sure you get enough coins. Also, because you're dealing with the vanish cap, which is on a timer, you can end up stuck in certain places like I ended up, so you'll have to exit course if you do end up like that. But for the actual start into the igloo here, it's just on this little bridge towards the entranceway that, yeah, you need the vanish cap in order to get to. The next world we have here is Wet Dry World, and this has an interesting kind of entranceway. This painting, you see, where we enter it changes the water level as we go in, and we can change the water level in the level itself by activating these little prisms around, but I recommend using your kind of initial entrance way to help out. I'll actually have some graphics on screen to show where I recommend having the water level as you enter. For the first star, Shocking Arrow Lifts, there's a couple ways to get it. The kind of standard one is on this beige ridge here. Activate that prism to raise the water level to a certain point, swim on over to these platforms and take the arrow lifts across to get to the star. If you're not a fan of that, you can also go to the top of the whole area and then long jump through this hoop, which I messed up at doing, to reach the star that way. I kind of prefer this one. Second star is Top of the Town. And this, well, as the name suggests, it involves going to the top of the town. You can raise the water level as high as you want. Once you're up there, you just gotta go across this plank. You can use the Mario Cam to help out there if you need. And the star is just gonna be in this box across these spinning platforms. Next up we have Secrets in the Shallows and Sky. Talk about a mouthful of a title. For this one, we want the water level as low as it can be. If you don't quite get it when you enter the painting, there's a prism just around the corner here by this little gate area, and that'll get the water to the bottom. And then around the corner to the other side of the map, there's this box. We need to push this box, and this counts as your first secret. And then also, as we push this box forward, we can then jump on top of it and jump on this block. That's your secret number 2. Then we want to go into the main kind of tower area of Wet Dry World and push this box in for secret number 3. Use these enemies called heave-hos to flip you up into the higher areas. And then in one of the higher areas these heave-hos will get you to, kind of the dark brown level, there's this totem where we can jump on top of, hit that block, and get our 4th secret. And then the last secret's just to the right of that. Activate this button, climb up these steps, and then find the last one in this block here. And the star spawns back where you start out in the course. Next up we have Elevator Express. Hurry up! I love some of these star names, I'm telling you. For this one, we need to level it as low as it can be initially so that we can destroy this block in this fenced area. And then we want to go up as high as we can go back to where we got that last secret for the last star. So of course that means going to this dark brown area, hitting this button and going up these steps. And once you're up here, you're going to want to hit this part of the platform, which will then lower it slowly. Beat it down to the bottom, use a ground pound if you need, and then jump on top of it as it comes down before it goes back up, because then it'll start lifting you up where you can collect the star in the caged off area. These next two stars involve an area in Wet Dry Land you may have not been to yet, the town. First we have go to town for 8 red coins, and in order to get the town, I recommend going and triple jumping into the painting so you get the water level as high as you can go. Because once it is as high as you can go, you'll notice to your right that as soon as you enter the world, there's this kind of gated off area in the corner. You can only reach it if the water level is high enough for you to swim on by and then jump over and into. Then you're going to swim all the way down through this little cavern here, and you'll reach the town. And this is where the 8 red coins are. First red coin is going to be just in front of the castle, but then the rest of them I recommend lowering the water level to, which is a prism kind of towards the entrance of the town you can do that with. And the reason you need to lower the water level is because a lot of these red coins are within blocks that you need to burst open, which obviously you can't do that while swimming. So speaking of which, the first one's just ahead of the castle in the center area. You can bust this one open. And then there's 2 more in that same center area on top of the ridges, so those 2 are there for you. On top of said ridges, there's a rooftop just dead ahead that you can jump to, and that's going to have another one you got to burst open for. And then these last ones, I use wall kicks to get to. I think there's some button somewhere that activates some platforms and make them easier to get to. I don't know. Basically in the upper left part of the room, you've got this one which you can wall kick between the gate and the building to get to. And then over here, there's 2 more that you just wall kick between these buildings to get each of those. It's probably not the intended method, but it's what I prefer. The star then spawns inside the castle at the center of the town, so just go ahead and collect it there. The next star also involves the town. We have quick race through downtown, so yet again, raise the water level as high as you can go, swim on through to the town, and this star requires the vanish cap. Once you're there, you're going to want to lower the water level down, and then in the back right part of the town, you're going to want to get the vanish cap, and then sneak through the wall, the little center ridge, to go to the back left part of the town, and through this gate we used to wall kick earlier. Now, you're going to want to wait for the vanish cap to run itself thin, so you become real again. Lakitu has some problems here. This honestly might be the worst star in terms of the camera controls. But once you're whole again, that means you can wall kick between the gated wall and this little tower to get up high and reach the star. Next world we have here is Tall Tall Mountain, once again on the 2nd floor, so it requires that we've done Bowser in the lava world and all. The painting's oddly small, but it does stick out as a new painting, so heading on in, our first star we have here is Scale the Mountain. And this one's pretty self-explanatory, just kind of a linear path up to the top where the star is waiting for us. I do recommend, actually, with this hedge bit with the Monty Moles, taking that path because it avoids a lot of tricky parts, like this part over here with the rolling log and the monkey. I don't like that part. So you can just go ahead and skip it by going through this little hedge maze here where you're intended to get the red coins. You go through this hedge bit here, you go through this little thin bridge platform across the waterfall, and then eventually you reach the star at the top. Now the second star is Mystery of the Monkey Cage, and it's pretty much the same star just again. You once again go back to the top of the tower, use whatever method you feel like, and there, instead of a star, there's a monkey. You need to catch this monkey, and he can be a little difficult. You see, as soon as you try to grab him, he's going to jump over you. But if you know that, instead of going to grab him, you go up to him, you turn around, and then you grab him as he lands behind you. So that's the best method I can think of. Once you catch the monkey, he'll say sorry, and he'll get the star for you. So you then follow him around to this cage star just by the little bridge past the waterfall. I kind of love the image of Mario and this monkey just walking along together. He'll release the star for you, and then it appears down low, kind of towards the log area. Next up we have Scary Shrooms Red Coins, and this one can be a little tricky. At the very start of the level we have all these mushroom platforms which have 4 red coins on them. And there's no ledges here we can grab onto, so you have to land solidly flat into the center of these mushrooms in order to, well, not fall to your death. After you collect the 4 here, there's 4 more just up ahead in that little hedge maze with the Monty Moles I had mentioned before. And then once you collect all of those, the star appears in this lone mushroom off in the distance. You can long jump over to that and collect your star. Next star we have here is Mysterious Mountainside. Mysterious Mountainside is a bit obscure if you don't know what you're doing, but once you know what to do, it's a fairly simple star. We need to climb up most of the way to the mountain, past this area where you long jump through the waterfall, past this little cloud enemy here who's one of a kind, so he's notable. And then in this little area, there's a wall here that we can actually jump inside. I know, it's kind of obscure, but once you know, you know. This leads to a slide area where there's a whole bunch of coins, so it's good for a 100 coin star. And then once you make it through, they'll dispense you out here where you can pick up the star. If at any point you die, don't worry, because as you re-enter the painting, until you collect this star, you'll actually appear here at the start of the slide, so you won't have to traverse the mountain every single time. Next star we have is Breathtaking View from the Bridge. You may have noticed as we're going up this mountain time and time again, there's a star behind the waterfall. And you can just kind of try to jump to it. That works too. The intended method is at the top of the mountain, there's this little button you can activate. And while it normally pushes this box here, it also puts a box just dead ahead of that star in front of the waterfall to make it easier to platform your way to it. And that's about it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Last star we have here is Blast to the Lonely Mushroom, and this one can be a little tricky. First, we need to activate the cannon, because we need the cannon to reach it. The cannon is actually just before the log and the monkey in that one area. It's going to be in this lower hidden ridge where we can talk to Pink Bob-omb. And then that just activates the cannon, keep in mind. We need to find the cannon too, which is also kind of obscure because on those mushroom platforms where we got the first 4 red coins, we need to jump on this empty small one here where we're suddenly teleported to the lower area. That's where the cannon is, and that's where we can shoot to the star. I don't like this method, to be honest. There's a better method. Go up to the log and long jump from the edge of it all the way to the mushroom platform out there. Much faster, much easier, much better. The last world in the second floor we have here is Tiny Huge Island. Tiny Huge Island is interesting. There's 2 different distinct entrances for this place. One, if you enter, you go in as Giant Mario, and one, if you enter, you go in as Mini Mario. And I'll mention whether or not you should go in as Giant or Mini Mario. Most of the time it's Giant Mario. But keep that in mind for when you're going around to collect different stars. For the first star, Pluck the Piranha, we need to go in as Giant Mario, jump across these platforms here, and then go in the pipe to become Small Mario, face off against all these piranha plants, and once you beat them all, the star appears just around the way. Star number 2, to the top of the huge island. As the name suggests, we gotta get to the top of the island. I also recommend going in as Giant Mario, heading over, and instead of going in that pipe we went in before, there's a little ledge down here with a button. Activate that button and somersault your way up to this part of the mountain where the cannonballs are falling, and get used to this route, because this is honestly the best way to navigate Tiny Huge Island, is going this way. Once you're up here, there's a pipe, go in there to become Mini Mario, and then navigate to near the top of the mountain, going around this little wooden plank here. You're not going all the way to the top, because just before the peak, there's a block, and that's where the star is. Star number 3 is Rematch with Koopa the Quick. Yet again, we're taking that same route of going long jumping across to that pipe, activating that block, and then backflipping up to the pipe where we can become Mini Mario. So become Mini Mario there, and then head around the corner to see Koopa the Quick. You have to be Mini Mario in order to race him, otherwise you just kill him as Big Mario. That's kind of dark. And this begins your rematch with him, where you gotta go kind of around the corner and through where these cannonballs are going. This can be a lot tougher than the first Koopa the Quick race. I recommend getting a huge head start at the beginning, because later on you're gonna be crossing this bridge where wind is trying to blow you by. Don't jump there. Take it slow, take it easy. So make sure you get your head start early on. That's the key. Use your long jumps, of course. Once you beat Koopa the Quick, he'll give you the star. Next star we have is 5 itty bitty secrets, in which we have to find a whole bunch of basically inaccessible areas for Giant Mario. So go in as Giant Mario, go somersault up to that pipe, and don't become Mini Mario this time. We need to find those 5 secrets. The first one is at the cannonball dispenser. That's one of them right there. The next one is in this little cave entranceway we can't get in, with this little plank leading to it just around the corner of where Koopa the Quick was. The next one is actually towards the entrance of the world on the other side of where Mini Mario would come out of. The next one is just across from that, past the water into this little island here, where it's this cannon dispenser. Also, this is where you can activate the cannon with the pink Bob-omb, although it's not really necessary now that I think about it. And then the last one is actually going to be on the top of the whole mountain, so be very careful going up there as Giant Mario. It's not easy with this little wooden plank here, but once you make it up there, the star will appear. It actually appears on this island far off in the distance. Remember that button we've been hitting on our way to get this path going? That button activates the path to this island, so that's what you gotta take to get there. I don't recommend long jumping to this island. You've worked too hard for this star. Next star we have is Wiggler's 8 red coins, and for the first time so far, we're entering as Mini Mario, because as you enter as Mini Mario and go through the small entranceway at the start, we're then going to swim over to this Koopa Troopa here, steal his shell, use the Koopa shell to go up this slope, hit Z to deactivate the shell, and now you're on this area where you can walk across this plank into the cave entrance. You probably also can just drop down from the top of the mountain in order to get to this cave entrance, but I don't know, whatever you prefer. Once inside, this is where all the 8 red coins are, so I don't need to go into detail on where exactly each individual one is. They're just all around here. But there are some very tricky jumps you gotta make. You gotta do some wall kicking here between these 2 platforms. Double jumps are your best friend, because some of these drops can be a bit deceiving in the sort of the distance. Sometimes the depth perception can kind of mess you up. Also, keep an eye out for this guy shooting fire at you, because if he hits you, it is game over, man. But once you collect all 8 red coins, the star spawns in between these 2 pillars where we had to wall kick before. Last star of Tiny Huge Island is Make Wiggler Squirm. We're going to enter as Giant Mario and go on that same path to the top of the mountain that we've taken a few times. Now we're going to ground pound at this part to make the water lower. Now the entrance here is too small, so we have to go back down, become Mini Mario, and then head back to the top of the mountain. A bit of back and forth here, and then head on down inside this entranceway, where you can find Wiggler, the boss of the world. And probably the boss in Mario 64 I feel the most bad for. We really just flooded his house and now we're fighting him? Poor guy. Is Mario the villain? I don't know. Should I be contemplating this in a guide video? What the hell am I doing? Anyway, the Wiggler boss fight's pretty simple. You just gotta jump on his head 3 times and then he'll give you the star. Next up we have the 3rd level worlds, starting out with Tick-Tock Clock. Now, because this is on the 3rd level, we need 50 stars in order to open this door without exploits. And the Tick-Tock Clock entrance is gonna be dead ahead in front of the entranceway. Now, Tick-Tock Clock is a very important kind of world entrance we need to take note of here. You see, on the entranceway, there's these clock hands going around from 12, 3, 6, 9 o'clock. And where they're pointing when you enter the world actually changes how the world functions. You see, If we enter at 3 o'clock, the obstacles in the world are pretty slow. If you enter at 6 o'clock, the obstacles in the world are completely random. Don't do that one. If you enter at 9 o'clock, the obstacles are pretty damn fast, which can actually come in handy in some cases. And if you enter at 12 o'clock, you actually freeze time and all the obstacles are stood still, which makes things hilarious. You're going through like Quicksilver or like Sonic or that guy from Over the Hedge? I don't know. Going through with time frozen can be a little difficult because that means like elevators aren't going up and down to get you from place to place, but it is possible to navigate through most all of the map with time frozen. So if you don't like these obstacles, that's something to keep in mind. I will have a recommended time you should enter the world in for each of these stars on the side here as a little extra graphic. First star is roll into the cage, and this one's very self-explanatory. It's just on the linear path up. With these cubes here, I recommend doing a double jump so that you avoid them as they rotate around so they don't spin you off. And the star's just ahead on these little spinning platforms in this little cage here. Pretty simple star to get. Next star we have is the pit and the pendulum. This one's pretty much a continuation of the last one. Continue on the linear course until eventually you reach this kind of two-way path, and you want to go on the left where you go on these triangle platforms across. There's these pendulums swinging by. And also this is where blue coins are, so if you're going for a 100 coin star, you need to know about this area. And the star is just dead ahead. Next star we have here is get a hand. You cannot stop time for this star. Wherever else you put it, it's fine. I recommend doing it fast just to make the star easier, but do not stop time when you get this star because you actually need to use this swinging clock hand inside the level to reach the star. In this kind of ledge here, before where you got the first roll into a cage star, there's this clock hand spinning around and the fire dispenser shooting at you. Watch out for that guy. You need to board the clock hand and wait for it to spin around to reach where the star is being kept in a little crevice. Next star we have is Stomp on Whomp. This one is pretty much the extent of the whole obstacle course of Tock Clock. You gotta go all the way up. You cannot stop time for this one either because once you reach the top, once again, there's a clock hand going around that you gotta ride. You're gonna ride it to this conveyor belt where you gotta do a triple jump past the thwomp and onto the star. Again, momentum and your angle, that's everything with triple jumps you gotta keep in mind. Next up we have time jumps on moving bars. I don't think this one's possible with time stops, so keep that in mind as well. And basically we just need to go most of the way we just went for that thwomp star through most of the obstacle course, and this time it's just going to be in this caged off area where you got to navigate past these little pistons to reach it. And then the last star of Tock Clock is stop time for red coins. As the name suggests, you want to stop time, get that clock hand on 12, and then it's pretty easy to get. They're all just stood still on this platform right behind the entranceway. It's technically possible to get it while they're moving slowly, but not recommended. The star also spawns up here on these platforms, so you definitely want to make sure time to stop for that especially. Last world of the game, Rainbow Ride. This entranceway is also on the 3rd floor, so again, you need 50 stars in order to reach. And as you're entering, it's just going to be on Mario's right in this upper area where you got to kind of double jump in order to this platform in order to reach. It's a little tricky to get to the entranceway, but once you got it, you're good. And the first star here is Cruiser Crossing the Rainbow, which is as linear as these levels get, really. You're taking this magic carpet across this little rainbow path. You can step off to avoid some of these obstacles like this fire, but don't step off for too long because if you do, the magic carpets will disappear. This will lead you to these spinning platforms where there's a few different directions you can go. You want to go to the north end and ride this carpet along the way. And then this carpet will eventually lead to another fork in the road where there's 2 more carpets, and you want to go on the one in Mario's left for this star. So head in that one, and then again, it's just a linear path. You're avoiding some fire along the way. It'll lead you to a pirate ship, and that's where you can collect the star. Next star we have is the big house in the sky, and this is very similar to the last star if you watch that bit. We're taking the magic carpet in the linear path, and then eventually when you get to this fork in the road, we're taking the carpet on Mario's right. This will lead through this little house here where you gotta watch out for fire yet again, jump over these little platforms, and then eventually you'll go all the way to the roof where the star is waiting for you. Next up we have the red coin star here in Rainbow Ride, and this, back in those spinning platforms where there's a few different directions you can go, you're gonna wanna go straight ahead from where you came off the carpet into this big maze-like area where there's all the red coins. Not much to say about exactly where they are, they're just kind of around. You double jump to reach some of them, you can do wall kicks, all that stuff, and then the star spawns just at the base of this area. Next star we have here is Swinging in the Breeze, and this involves a back area we haven't really been to yet with Rainbow Ride. Now we can go from the spinning platforms past the first carpet to this area. You can also just turn around right at the start and long jump over to this pole. That's my preferred method. And then here we've got some swinging platforms going back and forth. Some of these falling platforms we've got to navigate by. It's a pretty linear course until we reach this kind of fork in the road where you can either go up or keep going straight ahead. We want to go up and then past these swinging platforms to reach the star. The next star we have is Tricky Triangles, and that's kind of the same path we just took for the Swinging in the Breeze star, where we want to go backwards, navigate through this little obstacle course, and then at that fork in the road we want to go straight ahead, hit this button so that the triangles flip themselves inside out and become platforms for you, and you can use them to reach the star. Last star we have in Rainbow Ride is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I do love references, don't you? Somewhere over the rainbow needs to have the pink Bob-omb activated first. The pink Bob-omb is back in the red coin maze. You want to go all the way to the end of the whole thing, and then it's going to be wall kicking your way up to the top where we can talk to him. Once you do talk to the pink Bob-omb, you're then going to want to go all the way through the magic carpets to basically where the first star was on that pirate ship. And on the opposite end of where the star was, there's a cannon you can go in there, shoot across through the rainbow to reach that star. All right, that's all the stars in the worlds. Now we just have the castle secret stars. There's no proper order for these. I kind of just ordered them based on what ones you can get at a certain point. So starting off, we have Peach's Secret Slide. Peach's Secret Slide is the upper door in the main area. It requires 1 star for you to get to. And in this room with the stained glass windows, we want to go in the one on the right. Here we have a pretty simple slide course sequence. There's no race, no time, nothing like that. So take your time, learn the slide controls if you need to. Also, don't worry about dying, because if you do fall off, you don't actually lose any lives. You just respawn out in the main area, which is not that far away. So at your leisure, collect this star. But it's not the only one involved here. There's a second star in the same slide. What we need to do now is beat the course in less than 21 seconds. You'll notice the little timer in the corner there. In order to beat it in 21 seconds, you can either dive forward, which makes Mario go faster, and then just really accelerate your way down, or you can use a shortcut. Just before this little hump in the road, jump over, and you actually also can ground pound to make it easier to land down underneath onto the lower part of the slide where you can go ahead. Either way, if you cross the finish line in under 21 seconds, the star just appears over there. Next secret star we have is the Secret Aquarium. This is in the entranceway to Jolly Roger Bay, which means you need 3 stars in order to reach it, of course. And basically, in Jolly Roger Bay's entranceway, there's these 2 square holes in the corners. You need to go to the one in Mario's right as you enter the room. And as you go on by, there's some red coins in this little aquarium area, 4 of which are kind of in just coin rings around the center, and then 4 more are at the very bottom level, also in the corners. Once you collect all of them, the star appears in the bottom center of the area. Now we have the first Bowser red coin level. We need 8 stars, of course, to open this door and reach Bowser in the Dark World, and here we need to get all the red coins in this course. First things first, as you're going by, there's going to be this button just by this flamethrower. You can hit the button and it's going to activate 2 blocks, one way back at the start, where you need to go back to get a red coin, and one just straight across from it. Don't worry, you're safe from the fire standing there, and you can give it a little time, so just take it easy. The next one is you're going along the kind of linear path that's just next to a crystal and these sparky guys. Nothing crazy about that one. And then the next one after that, there's this kind of shifting platform going back and forth, this big yellow wooden one. There's a red coin near the center platform you need to go down and get. And as you go ahead, there's these spinning jewel blocks. There's a red coin in the back corner of that, so just let it take you into that one. And then as you go ahead, there's this path you got to go on leading to these kind of swinging platforms, but instead of going to them yet, you're going to turn around and take this very, very narrow path to this red coin, and there's also a one up over here if you want it. But all right, from there you're going to go back on the linear path onto the swing platforms. There's 1 red coin hidden kind of behind them on a little ledge. This is where you want to take note of the fact that in these Bowser levels, all 3 of them, you can spin the camera around all the ways, so keep that in mind, it's very helpful. And then you actually want to use these swinging platforms to go back up onto the roof just above them, where you can get the last red coin, and the star appears just by the pipe leading to Bowser there. Next secret star is the Tower of the Wing Cap star. This is also important if you're trying to get the wing cap initially. This only appears after you collect 10 stars. Basically, this is going to be this glowing light beam that's in the main area now. And what you need to do is position Mario on the stained glass and then use the up C button to look into the light. This will teleport you into the wing cap course where you can fly around and collect all the red coins you need. It's best if you do it in one solid go, because otherwise trying to get back up high and reach them is just not likely. Make sure before you end though that you do activate the button and get the wing cap active. The star appears on the same platform there, and then once you collect the star you can leave. Next star we have is Catch Mips. This is in the basement, so you have to beat Bowser in the Dark World first. You also have to have exactly 15 stars for Mips to even spawn, so keep that in mind. Mips here, or as I like to call him, a walking door key, is this bunny that's wandering around the basement, and we need to catch him. The dive attack is particularly useful for this, especially around this corner here. But once we catch him, he'll give us a star. Next secret star is the first of 3, which is kind of a simple, really easy way to up your star total if you're looking for something you can do without having to do any obstacle courses or anything like that. It's just talking to Toad. So there's a Toad in the basement here, which we can reach just by the Hazy Maze Cave entrance, and if you talk to him, he gives you a star. Easy as that. Next up we have the Vanish Cap. So this is a guide on how to get the Vanish Cap star, and also how to get the Vanish Cap in the first place. In the basement, kind of close to Hazy Maze Cave's entrance, just past that, there's this area you gotta swim through. And once you get to this area, you need to ground pound these 2 totems to lower the water. And not only does that lower the water here, it lowers all the water around Peach's Castle moat. You can now go through the door and you're actually like under Peach's Castle in this moat area. And you gotta go through to this secret hole down there. Heading on in, this leads you to the Vanish Cap stage. Now for the red coins here, you gotta be very careful to start because this is giant slope leading down. And there's some platforms along the way that do have red coins on them. If you miss them, it's kind of impossible to get them back, so you may just have to restart. This is how you get the first 4 red coins, so use your Mario vision to look down and see where you gotta get them. The rest of the red coins are on a pretty linear path throughout the level, and you can backtrack if you miss them. We've got 2 on this little wooden swinging platform here that you gotta raise and lower to get. We've also got one of these rotating carousel platforms that are trying to flip you off like a burger. Be careful about those. And then there's one more by the exit here. And as always, remember, activate the vanish cap before you leave, which actually we kind of have to do because you need to go through this grate to collect the star, so there you go. That's the vanish cap and the star for it. Next up we have the Cavern of the Metal Cap. So this is serving as a bit of a guide for how to get the metal cap and how to get the star for said metal cap stage. This is an exception actually. It's not within somewhere in Peach's Castle, it's within Hazy Maze Cave. It's the only cap stage that's within another world. In Hazy Maze Cave we want to take the left path, long jump past the gap, go past the rolling rocks and down the elevator to the area where Dory the dinosaur is at, and actually use Dory to reach this door on the back wall. Of course, ground pounding on her back, riding on her head, and directing her towards said back wall. Once you head back here, you can head into this metal pool area, very much like Hazy Maze Cave's own entrance, and this leads to the metal cap stage. Now this is interesting. The first 4 are just kind of on a straight path. We have a couple behind these pillars, a couple next to the button to activate the metal cap itself, but the rest of them are actually requiring you use the metal cap, because in this obstacle course we've got rushing rapids trying to pull you out. And if they do pull you out, you actually end up back outside Peach's Castle, so be very careful of that. But there's 4 more red coins down in the water here you gotta collect, and the star, which also spawns in these rushing rapids. So have the metal cap equipped, so that way you sink down and you don't get pushed out of the water. Next up we have Bowser in the Fire World. This is the second Bowser star in the game, and this requires, of course, getting red coins in Bowser stage yet again. The first one is going to be, as we're going by, there's this kind of beaten path that leads up that doesn't seem necessary otherwise. This is where you can get the first red coin. You just got to jump over this gap and carry on up ahead, use the pole to get up on top of this swiveling platform, and on said swiveling platform you're going to want to reach this red coin right here, then go up the pole into this caged area, and there's one in the back corner. Also in this caged area we have an elevator leading up. You want to activate the elevator and then fake it out and get off, because there's actually a red coin just underneath it that we need to go and grab. So, okay, grab that, and then you got to redo that whole sequence where you go up the elevator, you head back on up, and now basically the next red coin is the same as the first one, where you have a straight path we got to go through, and there's a little beaten path up north that leads to the next red coin. Only this time there's a bully up there you got to watch out for. Next up in this giant shifting platform that's going up and down, there is a red coin you can see with the shadow there, so wait for it to lift you up into the red coin so you can reach it. The next one's right in front of this flamethrower in the lava. Talk about dangerous. And then the last one's going to be in the sequence where there's these poles shifting up and down that you got to use to get the red coin down here. Also, you'll have to wall kick your way up to get to the star because it spawns up on top of this ledge. All right, you want some easy stars? Here's some easy stars for you. Let's do some Toad secret stars. As soon as you enter the second floor, there's this big open area where the entrance to Tall Tall Mountain and Wet Dry World are. There's 2 Toads on this floor. One of them gives you a star. Easy as that. And then for the third and final Toad who can give you a secret star, as you go past the 50-star gate, just to Mario's right as you enter the room, there's going to be a Toad just by the tick-tock clock entrance who'll give you another star. Hey, you remember Mips? Let's catch Mips again. Mips shows up in the basement floor yet again if you collect 50 stars, and it's exactly the same as when you first caught him. You just gotta dive into him and catch him. I had a little more difficulty this time, but you know, it varies. Next secret star we have is Mario Wings Over the Rainbow. And this is kind of parallel to the entrance of Rainbow Ride, how there's another hole to the side there. And here I'm literally gonna refer to my script because this is pretty complicated on how you get these. First one is on the cloud you spawn in on. Go down another cloud with 2 rainbows. Oh, by the way, this requires the wing cap. I think that's pretty obvious, right? You need a wing cap for this. There's another cloud in between 2 rainbows, and I believe that's also like before the pink Bob-omb with the cannon who you can activate down there. Get in the cannon twice, go on top of the pole-ridden cloud for 2 more on top of that. There's a transparent cloud dead ahead from there, and then past that there's another solid cloud where there's a red coin, and then also on a small pole underneath the cloud where you got the 2, there's a red coin there. And the star spawns on the cloud where 2 rainbows connect just past the transparent cloud. How am I supposed to describe this? It's all just clouds and coins. What the fuck? All right, final star in the game is Bowser in the Sky. Yet again, it's a Bowser course where we gotta find 8 red coins along the way. The first one is right at the start. There's this box you gotta push back in order to reach it, or you can just somersault. The next one, as you're going along and around the linear path, is gonna be past this piranha plant in a little corner. And then this third one is probably the toughest red coin in the game. We have this obstacle course here where there's a lower area for seemingly no reason. It's just kind of some coins and some enemies and shit like that. But actually, we need to go down to this lower area, rotate the camera around, and you'll see a small secret ledge where this red coin lies. Talk about trolly that they put it there. Be careful getting it too, because you might fall to your death. Next, as you're going around the course, there's this Lego-like structure, and you gotta go to the top of the slope to reach this coin here. Then as you're going on this arrow platform, you gotta jump over this triangle obstacle with a little double jump in order to reach a coin there. Next, there's gonna be one just behind this little spike on this little wheelie platform here. And then there's gonna be one on this kind of swiveling platform here where you gotta reach the coin. And then the last red coin you need for the final star is just behind the stairs leading to Bowser. I'm not kidding. You have this pipe you take to get to Bowser, and there's stairs leading there. It's literally just hidden behind them. Talk about trolly. But once you get it, the star appears just there by the entrance to Bowser, And there you are. You've collected all 120 stars of the game. There are some rewards for getting 120 stars as well. After you beat the game with 120 stars, you reset everything. There's a few things in Peach's Castle that have changed now. We've got a cannon in the main entranceway that can get you on top of Peach's Castle. And there you can meet with Yoshi. It's so good seeing Yoshi again, isn't it? Too bad you can't ride him or do anything with him besides talk. He gives you a little thank you message from the Mario 64 development team, which is very nice. I always love when developers do that. And he also rewards you with 100 lives, which doesn't really mean anything in a game like this, and a special new glowy somersault. Basically, if you ever do a triple jump now, you get this kind of circular jump that reminds me of Mario 3. It has a little extra bounce to it. It's flashy. It's neat, I guess. And then one other small change now that you've got 120 stars is the penguin you race in Cool Cool Mountain. He's suddenly out of shape. He has some new dialogue now. You can race him again. You don't get a new star for it, but it's just kind of there. You know, honestly, 100%ing Mario 64 doesn't get you a lot in terms of rewards. It's more about the experience, right? Learning where all the stars are, having a good time with it. But truly, my appreciation for this game comes from the freedom that you don't need to get all the stars, that you can go where you want. You can get whatever stars you feel like. You can ignore the first star in the game. You can do Chain Chomp's Gate instead. You can ignore entire worlds if you don't like them. That's the beauty of Mario 64. And so while I made this whole guide on how to get 120 stars, to be honest, it's not my preferred method. Well, actually, my preferred method for beating the game is 16-star runs. We should make a video on that too. What do you think? Alright, you know what? This video gets 5 likes. We'll be generous like that. I will make another follow-up video on how to do a 16-star speedrun of Mario 64, because that could be a lot of fun as well. Well, anyway, that's it for today's part. I hope you found this very useful. Share it with anyone you know who's playing Mario 64, who's looking for how to get particular stars, and have yourself a very good day. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you around.
Thank you so much for playing my game.